caught surprised by the way we looked. The years had changed us too. We smiled and both embraced like old friends often do.
Hello again. Welcome to another show of Gung Ho. It's September 20th? 16th, boy, 2020. I'm back, and I have a special guest, Elizabeth or Betsy Podlach.
Podlach, yeah.
She's an artist. That's what she does. Her medium is, we'll find out in a little while. Let her talk about it. But the topic today is going to be police misconduct and corruption. And I think you all know that I'm a retired criminal defense lawyer. And I probably mentioned this topic before. And as far as corruption and misconduct, it abounds. It always has, it still is. We're making some headway because we're starting to record the misconduct. Anyhow, I'm going to turn to my guest, Betsy. All right, first of all, where were you born?
Johnson City, New York.
And how far did you go in your education, and where'd you go?
I graduated from Harvard University, and then I went to graduate school for art. So I have an MFA, a master's. I went to two schools. One I didn't get a degree at, they didn't offer a degree, but that's where I learned the most. And then I went to a school that gave me the MFA just sort of to get the MFA. But I did that in sculpture because I didn't want them to mess up everything I learned at the other one.
How long have you been painting?
A little over 30 years,
And
professionally.
This is one of your recent paintings?
Yeah, this was done about a year ago. And I just had a solo show. It just came down, but it was in Seattle, so most of my work is there. And I mean, most of the work is sold, but the work that I just finished went to Seattle. I have this piece. It's also sold, but because of COVID, I haven't delivered it to the customer yet, and I'm going to bring it myself to Brooklyn.
I think you told me already that you like painting the human body because of the form. Is that?
Yeah, I mean, I paint still lifes and landscapes and figures. I paint everything, and I always have, but my main focus is the figure. And so my website is betsypodlach.com, and there's a big range of stuff. But the figure's been my main focus, and there's something, there's the history of it, and then there's the spiritual aspect of the human body. It's the part of us that's natural, that isn't, is more nature than culture, let's just say. And the forms of it are just amazing. I'm astonished by and I took a year of nursing school, so I know what the inside of the body looks like and the organs and the whole, I don't know. It's amazing.
It is a fascinating subject. It always has been, always will be. The human
Yeah, I
form.
think so. And also there's our emotional connection to each other and to the figure and just the essential social nature of it. But I like the natural aspect. I like the forms of nature, and that includes the body. So yeah. And there's an erotic part and just all of that.
I have great esteem for painters, but maybe a little bit more for writers.
I always did too. I grew up as a book reader, just as a kid and everything. I didn't even know about painting till I was older, like 6th grade or something. But everything was just a novel.
My wife, Nikki, is a botanical watercolor, and she's very gifted, has shown a little bit, but lately she's not doing it. All right, I really wanted this painting here, and you chose it. I saw this before.
Oh, good. Okay. Yeah.
That's really nice.
It's
All
the
right.
one that happened to still
I
be
want
there.
to I want to tell the people out there why you are here. Recently, a friend of mine, I'm not going to name names, was arrested by the Southampton Village Police. She reached out to an attorney friend of mine, Jim Henry, first, and he called me and told me about it, and I got in touch with her. And we started doing some research about the officer. And we went on a public site, it's called PACER, Public Access Court Requisition, something like that. And Jim was just, Google searching, and he searched the name of the officer, and your case came up.
Right.
I mean,
It was the same officer.
and it turns out it's the same officer.
Yes.
And her name is?
Oh boy, her name is.
Leslie?
Thank God I don't. Ashley Jones. And,
All right.
And I love that I forgot her name
That's good.
because there was a long time where it was very hard to forget.
Well, on this site, which is a public site, they put almost everything, it's a federal site. They put almost everything that goes on in a federal case. There's a docket, which is a chronological account, and then you can go behind the docket and look at the files like
you
that
can open
complaint.
every
Yeah.
file. It's public information. Yeah.
But there are secret files. I'm not going to go into that.
Oh, okay.
All right. So it turns out we found your case.
I didn't know that.
Oh,
wow.
yeah.
Okay.
I know about
okay.
it.
Okay. Yeah, because you're a lawyer. Yeah.
Yes. Well, all right. So we found your case and we started going through it, and there was a lot of similarities to this recent case. And we went to visit you, and you told us about the case, and we sat there, and you gave us like a story, and it was so animated. So I said, I got to get it back here and get this out. So what I want to do is, start from the beginning. September 30th, 2000.
It was, I know, I had to check. It was August 30th,
August.
2013. I knew it was the summer of 2013.
And at that point, where were you living and what were you doing?
So I was living in Hampton Bays, and I was involved with a man. I guess we were together about 8 years. He would come on the weekends, and he's an attorney, a civil attorney in Brooklyn, and he's been a judge. He's been everything, assistant attorney general, et cetera. And so he was coming for the weekend. He happens to be black, which is not super relevant, except just a tiny bit. And a brilliant lawyer, too. Anyway, we had a routine. He loved to cook, and since I lived in a house instead of an apartment anymore, I moved here from New York City after living in New York City for about 20 years. I lived in Paris some, but most of the time was New York City, and we met in New York City. But anyway, out here I have a house, so the kitchen's bigger, and so usually I would wait to eat until he got here, and then he would cook and make a mess, and we'd have this whole meal, and it was just this whole thing. So this was a Friday night. It was probably, August 30th is probably one of the busiest nights in the Hamptons, and I have to say, just because of the date, that Southampton Village was absolutely deserted because it was after 11. And as busy as the Hamptons are, it's an early place. Everyone is home by
Getting
11.
ahead of yourself.
You can't even get, but I want to lay that out because I
Yeah.
think it matters to what happened when we talk about it. Everyone's asleep by then. It's remarkable. And coming from New York, you forget. So anyway, I got a call that night, and Phil was his name, my boyfriend, and he said, look, the train just killed someone, just ran over someone and killed someone. I'm on the LIRR, and we just killed someone. And we were both just very shooken up by that. And he literally called me right back a few minutes later, and he said, I can't believe this, but the conductor literally said it was a clean kill and we'll be going soon. So we were both just horrified and just, I don't know, it was just really, really, really upsetting. And he said, but we'll be an hour late. So I left the house probably around 11 or so, 11:30, I don't remember when he said it would get in.
He changed his stop, right?
Oh, yeah, that's right. So I live in Hampton Bays, and I live a mile, literally a mile from the train station, and Phil is a workaholic, so he was working on some legal thing, and they didn't announce Hampton Bays, and he missed it. And he also doesn't have the perfect sense of direction. I don't either. And he called me and said, what do I do? What do I do? My God, I missed the stop, and I know how lost you get. And I said, just get off, enough already. Like, they had killed someone, and the whole thing was just so stressful. So I said, just get off the next stop. He said, it's Southampton, you don't know how to get there. And I said, just get off, I'll figure it out. I didn't have a smartphone. I had a little flip phone. And so I drove to Southampton, and it was totally dark. And like I said before, it was absolutely deserted. By that I mean, there were maybe 2 cars in motion the entire time I was driving around Southampton, which was quite a while. But there were a lot of parked cars, but there no people, no cars moving around, nobody. It was deserted, and it was very dark. There were also no signs in the town of Southampton for the train station, none. So I'm in the center of town on Main Street, just looking, thinking there'll be a sign. There's nothing. I'm thinking there'll be someone to ask, because usually there's someone to ask, nobody. Restaurants closed, everything closed. Finally, I see a police car that stopped behind another car, and I see the police officer, this was Ashley Jones, handing a ticket in to the driver's side door. She had completed the whole thing. I parked my car legally about 400 feet back at least, if not more. I turn off the engine, I shut the door, I get out of the car, and I walk just a couple paces. She's still quite far away. And I say to her, excuse me, can you please tell me how to get to the Southampton train station? She turns around and screams at me. And she says, you get back in your car and you sit there and you wait for me. And I thought, okay, this is not someone I want to engage with. I had been beaten up once 15 years before by a female cop who I got fired. But I can tell in that moment, I knew that that was not an officer I wanted to ever see again, if possible. And I was not required to sit in my car and wait for her. So I continued driving around, hoping I would run into someone who could give me directions. Sadly, because I didn't take advantage of it, but I did see a couple. They were obviously a romantic couple, and I stopped them, and they gave me directions, and they said, we'll drive you to the train station. You can just follow us. And I thought, oh God, you're obviously on a date, and I just thought, no, it's okay. I'll find, thank you for the directions, I can do it, right? And then I noticed that there was a police car behind me. I think I noticed that. In any case, somehow I was so nervous already, starting maybe even with the people being run over, her yelling at me, being hungry because we're waiting for dinner, having just spent a week with my dad with Parkinson's, just everything. And I forgot the directions. So I'm still driving around, and that is when, for sure, Ashley Jones starts following me in her car around and around the village of Southampton we go. And as people may or may not know, there's only about 3 roads in the whole town. So I'm literally doing circles slowly, and she's behind me the whole time. And like I said, I was beat up once by the police, and they beat me up. And then when I reported them, they broke into the house and beat me up a second time. But even if that hadn't happened to me, I think a police car just following me like that would probably.
But there came a time when you saw some young men.
Yeah, so during one of those circles on Main Street, there was one bar that hadn't let out yet. I didn't realize. That's probably why the cars were there. And so all of a sudden, there are people on the street, pedestrians, like about 10, and they're fairly young, and they're all together. And I roll down my window. I stop on Main Street. Again, there's no moving traffic, no traffic at all. And I say to him, hey, can you guys tell me how to get to the train station? He starts talking to me and telling me how to do it. And Ashley Jones comes around from the opposite direction. I guess she had turned around at one point, done a U-turn or something. She comes around, I'm this way, my window's down here, my driver's seat's here. She comes around very fast and goes between my car and this gentleman and stops right here. So she and I are very close together with our windows down.
Did he have to avoid her car?
He stepped back. I mean, just, he wasn't super, he was like there, and she goes like that, right? And I said, it's okay. I said to her, it's okay, he's giving me directions. And she said, she starts yelling at me. I think she said something like, why didn't you, I don't know if she said, why didn't you wait for me, or maybe something like that. And I realized that the kid was too far away now. And I said to her, okay, just give me the directions, please, now to the train station. All this time also, Phil is calling me from the platform, wherever it is, the train station, saying, are you lost? Where are you? I told him about the police officer, and he said, oh man,
This is before this.
Yeah, before this encounter, he had been calling me. I told him about the police officer, and he made a comment like, oh, brother, I can't believe she did that, or whatever. And anyway, so he, it did flash in my mind, this is a black man all by himself in the Southampton train station, because I had seen him be stopped for driving in Hampton Bays, frankly, for nothing.
Driving while black.
Yeah. So anyway, I was a little nervous about that. He was a little, anxious that I reach him, just because I get lost. And anyway, so she's there, and I said, please just give me the directions to the train station. She gives me the directions, and for whatever reason, just being anxious, my father with his Parkinson's swearing right and left because he was dropping things, and he was, that whole week before that, being upset about the person being murdered. I said, thank you, fucker. And that's in my, initial claim, everything. I used the F word, not even that loudly, but she could hear me. We were close.
Did she get out of her car at that point?
No.
Did you pull off?
No, I just kept going straight the way I was going.
I mean, you continued to drive.
I just continued, yeah.
You were stopped for a moment.
She was going the other direction. I mean, she was pointing the other direction. So I said, thank you, fucker. Like, And I put the car in gear, and I proceeded at a regular pace straight ahead. Kind of probably even at that point realizing I hadn't absorbed anything she had said. So I go straight. I think I got the first part. I go straight, and you know where the Pottery Barn used to be. Obviously, I had to go. I mean, I know where the train station is now, believe me. So you veer left, so I do that. I go straight that way. Now, what I did next, for sure, is hard to say. Maybe I got that right-hand turn right. You know, when you turn past that restaurant on the way to the train station, I might have done that. In any case, it's very dark. I'm on a smaller road for sure. I'm not on a road with any street lights anymore. To my memory, it seems like a dirt road practically. Remember, I hadn't been here that long. I'd never been to the train station. But I was, by then, off the main road. And whether it was the right way or not, I can't tell you, but I was on a much smaller road that was totally dark. I believe I probably, if I got that far correctly, then I made the next turn wrong. Because I know now there's a V and you're supposed to go one way. So I probably made the next turn wrong, if I even got that far. I could have turned anywhere off that main street, I don't know.
You were way past the train station.
Well, at one point, I was not. I made that one turn correctly, and after that, I can't tell you where I was. All I know is it was very dark. It seemed like a dirt road. It was a small road. And I noticed that she's behind me again. Not until I'm off the main road do I see her behind me.
Do you have her lights flashing at this point?
No, she's just driving slowly behind me.
She's close enough that you could see her car and
Oh,
see her.
yeah, I could see her car. I could see her
You
car.
could
There were
see her.
still headlights. There were no headlights, and then there were headlights, and I could tell it was her because I had watched her all the way around, you know, for a while. And she's just following me. And I'm thinking, okay, where's the train station? Like, I'm just, right? And then she turns her lights on. But there was quite a while, a good 10 minutes, where she's just following me.
How much time went by from when you first spoke to her to when she stopped you for the first time?
By the time, when I first talked to her and then she stopped me in town, half an hour or 40, could even be as much as an hour. So she's just driving around following me, yeah.
You were really lost.
I wasn't like lost super far away. I was driving around that same circle of town looking for someone to give me directions.
All right, so what happened now?
But it took a while because I couldn't find anyone, and then I found that couple, and then... So anyway, after she...
Wait, hold on.
Yeah.
I think we've finished. Oh, no, we're still going. Go ahead.
Okay, so obviously she had to turn around somehow from Main Street and turn around and start following me. But there was still a while where she wasn't there, and then she was there again, okay? And then there was another period of time before she turned her flashers on. Okay, so this woman knows my license plate, had plenty of time to look it up. She had seen inside my car. She had seen me outside my car. She had seen everything. She knew who I was. You know, there was no weapons in my car, nothing on me. I was wearing shorts and a T-shirt. I mean, she saw everything. So she puts her lights on, I pull over. She comes up to my car, and she asked me for my license and registration, and I said, what did I do? I learned later from a major lieutenant that I finally saw because I was so scared of, I just had a long meeting with him, and he's like, they have got to tell you why they stopped you and their badge number if you ask. I don't know if that's true, that's what he claimed. Anyway, I just said, what did I do? And she said, just give me your license and your, you know. And I gave them to her, and I said, please tell me what I did. I'm just going to the train station. And she said, you are guilty of a violation of a local violation. And I said, what violation? She said, you used a curse word. And I said, you know, you can't have a law against a curse word because we have we're allowed to curse. So if there's a local law that's unconstitutional, blah, blah, blah. And she said, it's a local law and you can get a ticket for it. Like it's not even a ticket, it's a little notice.
Violation.
Yeah. And I said, okay, well, listen, my boyfriend has been waiting for an hour and a half, because it really was a long time. At least it felt like it, but I'm quite sure it actually was. He's right up there, right up ahead at the train station. Can we just do this there? And she took my license and registration, or I think she took, I don't remember, but she, in any case, she went back into her car. So I waited and I figured, okay, I guess that's a yes. The other thing that I thought was, it's dark, there's no one around, and this woman is out of control. I could just tell because of my experience. I did not want, oh, she asked me to step out of the car. That was the other thing. After I asked her why she had stopped me, she said, step out of the car. And I really didn't want to do that. I felt absolutely like it wasn't safe, okay? And some of this does go back to my prior experience, but there's a look in the eye. When I looked in her eyes, you could just see, I know it sounds unbelievable, you could see the psychosis because I had seen it in this other cop's eyes who beat me up. Again, for absolutely no reason. I mean, I didn't even use a curse word, I wasn't driving, you know, it was just a fun day for her, you know, fun night
All right,
for
we're
her.
coming to the
But
end of this.
anyway, so when I saw her, I just didn't want to get out of the car.
All right. We're gonna continue this in detail.
Line, 'cause friends are friends for all time. Where have my old friends gone? Where are they now? Used to be a walk away in my hometown, but they're so far away, as far can be. But in my heart they're close to. Yes, in my heart they're close to. In my heart they're close to me.